welcome to Extra Tuesday, where we're going to be super extra talking about the book or the video, which one we like the best. Now, if you missed our video last week, check it out. It's in the link below. You can click on the link below to go watch the video so you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to be talking about. But I will go ahead and let you know that it's going to be between the book or the video of Batman Year One.
Yes.
So what was your take on it?
I actually had a hard time reading the comic book, I'll be honest. I had to have my contacts in and my glasses because I'm super old, and it was hard for me to be able to read the words. And then I was like, okay, do I read top to bottom, left to right, and then top to bottom? I mean, it took me a minute to figure out how to read, and then I was like, oh, okay, so the boxes in yellow are his thoughts. Okay, that's not what he's saying out loud. So it took me a few minutes to be able to read it. And then watching the movie, of course, there were some things left out from what was in the comic books as to what was in the movie. So there was some difference between the two, but I have to say I liked the movie better just because it was easier, it was flowing better for me. I'm super old and it was hard for me to read, so I liked the movie better.
I think I liked both equally, to be honest. I liked the comic book, and for all you out there who are watching who are like, you read it from this way, we didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
we're not geeks.
Not yet. We're getting there. We're at the beginning stages, okay? We're phasing in.
It was good.
So, give us grace. But I liked both. I liked the comic book because it was way more graphic. I could tell between the thoughts. I mean, I guess I'm young enough to be able to tell the difference between those. But it was good. It was really good. And it was so informational as far as like leaving out the parts. Because I watched the movie first and then I read the book. Which I know most people are like, read the book first.
I watched the movie after I read the book, so
yeah.
It was.
And so, you know, there are those who are like, I'm going to watch the movie first because I know that if I read the book first, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm one of those. But there are those who are like, hey, I'm going to read the book first and then see how horrible this movie is because it missed out all this stuff, right? I know there's a couple of you out there, and I know right now you are agreeing with me. You are that person. I'm not. So I liked the movie because it gave me a sense of everything that was going on. But I loved the comic book too because it gave me information that was missing in the movie. Even though the movie did make sense and it all did flow well together, the comic explained a little more.
It did, yes.
As to what was going on in the movie. So I liked both of them equally. So if you're going to watch it or if you're going to read it, I would recommend doing it around the same time.
I would do both,
just to kind of keep it all together for yourself. Because if you read one or if you read it and then you go watch the movie later, you're going to be like, hey, wait, I'm missing something. Or if you do the opposite, you're going to be like, whoa, what did I miss in the movie? So do it relatively close together. But I liked both.
I would definitely do both. I would read the book and watch the movie because then you're going to get a little bit more out of one or the other, depending on what kind of person you are. You're going to get a little bit more out of one or the other than you did with just watching or reading one. So I liked it. I mean, it definitely gave you the background of why Batman became Batman and how he was. It's almost like us listening to the Holy Spirit trying to figure out what we're supposed to do with our next steps, where we're supposed to go in life. He was doing the same thing. He was trying to figure out, he wanted revenge on these people that killed his parents, and he wanted to fight. He kept fighting this battle. Am I ready? Am I ready to do it now? And what do I need to go ahead and start this revenge process? And that night that he went out and was like fighting thugs on the street, obviously showed him he got his butt handed to him. So he obviously wasn't ready. But at the same time, he knew he had to take that first step, kind of like we do in faith, to try to figure out, am I ready for this? Am I ready to go out? Am I ready to take that next step to move beyond what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
So, it's almost like a relationship with the Holy Spirit, where we have to figure out, am I ready to take that next step? Am I ready to move forward? Am I ready to step out in faith and do something different? And that's kind of how Batman was feeling at the moment, where he wanted revenge. He wanted to get revenge on the people that had killed his family, but he didn't know, was he ready to fight? He'd gone and done the martial arts training, but wasn't totally prepared for the fight that was up ahead, and certainly not prepared for all these enemies that were going to come out to kind of, try to fight him. So
another thing too that I liked about the comic and then the movie was, because this was Batman Year One, you got to see the parts where he broke down. Mm-hmm. You got to sympathize with him, share the pain with him. It really drew you in the comic book because it was more elaborate. Yeah. And I'm a pretty creative, imaginative person. That's a word, right? Yeah. So I, really like the comic because it helps to, give me an idea of things that are going on. And of course, I obviously connected with him, and that was the point in reading the comic or any comic to that extent, is to kind of connect with the character, even with the villain. You know what I mean? Because you have to have some sort of connection and feel something for the villain for it to be a good villain. Like the Joker, for instance. But we're not talking about the Joker. We're talking about Batman Year One. So the comic was great because you got to empathize with him. You got to connect. You got to feel his pain, feel his sorrow, and his failure and his pride all at the same time. And then in the movie, of course, it cuts some of that out, but you still feel a sense of it because that one's more flowy, whereas you're just looking at images and you're kind of doing it on your own. This one kind of gives you more of a direction to go with it. So I would definitely do both.
When I first started watching the show, I found myself like looking through the comic too and like reading it word for word. And for a while, they did do it word for word. And then they kind of went off script, and I was like, okay, time to stop looking at the comic. I could just watch the movie. I had to make myself stop. But anyway,
so we're
hoping you enjoyed your Extra Tuesday, and you tell us what you liked more, the comic book or the movie.
Yeah, and comment below. And you can totally argue with yourself. It's okay. It's okay. This is a safe space here. But if you don't want to argue with yourself and you just want to choose one side, you're not going to be judged. We're going to love you either way.
That's right. So stay devoted.
Peace and love.